Welcome to the Darkstream, Voxday, voxday.net, and unauthorized.tv. Sorry I'm a little late streaming. I don't know if we're going to have many people here tonight, considering that Owen and Stefan are both streaming live, but as you notice, it's pretty cool that the infrastructure is holding up with all three of us streaming at the same time. Wute Bear made it. Welcome, Wute Bear. I'm really, it's really interesting to see how things are developing, not just with our platforms, but with other platforms on either side of the political divide. There's a lot of stuff going on right now all over the place, and things are going to get difficult for people everywhere. I'm not going to say anything more about it now, but there's a young man in a European country who's been arrested for essentially nothing more than some memes and an interview. It's kind of similar to the Ricky Vaughn situation in the United States. And so there's a lot. Clown world is crumbling, and like all desperate powers, they have a tendency to lash out. That could be what happened with regards to our situation here. But it's very clear that things are getting difficult all over the world. I mean, Chinese real estate companies are struggling. They're having to bail out big banks. Vice, which was valued at $5.7 billion, is now toast, bankrupt. And something that I predicted in corporate cancer that a lot of people found very difficult to believe, but Disney is actually struggling. I mean, Disney, one of the biggest, most successful entertainment companies in the world, is reeling right now. They're I don't know if you read the Arkhaven blog, but if you do, you really need to read Dark Herald. He also contributes at Fandom Pulse. Drop Bear is here and even has his unauthorized t-shirt on. Well done. Yeah, we need to get some unauthorized, more unauthorized merch going. We're going to work on that. There's some very, very cool merchandise being worked out. I cannot wait to get my Castalia history shirt. What's on it. It's one of the coolest emblems I've ever seen outside of like Cambridge University. So pretty stoked about that. And tomorrow I'll be sending out an email announcing tomorrow we'll send out an email announcing the new hardcover. I'll mention that later, what the new hardcover is. But I'll be announcing the new Castalia library book on Friday. I don't even know what day it is. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? Okay, technically it's Thursday, but which means I still think it's Wednesday. But anyhow, so on Friday we'll announce the new library book, and really stoked about this one. And also, thanks to all of you who have relaunched your Castalia library and history subscriptions. It's going great. We still need to get about 7% of the existing subscribers. We need to have them get re-up, but everybody's done a great job. And more than a few people have taken advantage of going with the annual and getting the free book that we are giving to those who take out new annual subscriptions. So we haven't really talked about that a lot, mostly because, I don't know, it just didn't really occur to me, but it's a pretty good little bonus there. I mean, I guess the reason that we didn't really think it was that big a deal, because most of the people who are inclined to subscribe that way have been subscribers since the beginning, but then someone pointed out to me that they make great gifts. So fair enough. Are the new books getting made in the Castalia bindery as yet? No. We have one more thing that we have to solve. We finally got one issue solved, which was we needed to get the correct spine material, which you got to keep in mind. It's not like there's a professional semi-automated bindery industry. We're literally one of the only places in the world where this sort of thing gets done this way. And so when you need to find the right materials, a lot of the materials are things that are used for other things and sold for other things that have been determined to be the ideal stuff for what we're doing. And so it took us until about a month ago to find the right company that made the right materials, test them out, et cetera, et cetera. Just this week, we bound our first books, cased in our first books with that material. It looks great. I'll show you what this stuff looks like. For example, this, I just happen to have this sitting here. This is the proof of the landmark Thucydides, and it's about 700 pages. It's got not only the entire text, but it's got all the notes. That's why it's so fat. It's got all these notes from the various academics and so forth. This is this is what the Castalia History subscribers are going to be getting. Probably the third week of March is when they should be showing up in people's mailboxes. They've already been trimmed and gilded, and then they'll be getting cased in on, I think, March 8th or so. So we've got all the problems resolved. We are in the process of working on 2 different books for bindery clients, but we can't do our own books there yet because we still need to get the hubbing tools fixed to our liking. We've tried 3 different approaches to the hubbing. Each of them was unsatisfactory in some way, but I'm told that the latest attempt should not only provide us with the kind of hubbing that we want to do. It's not going to be like the current ones that are similar to Easton. It's going to be more similar to the old Franklin Library, and so they're a little bit thinner and they stick out just a little bit more. So we'll get there. We are getting there. And we've already upped our game with regards to the stamp designs. The latest books, Cambridge Medieval History, Thucydides, Pride and Prejudice. They're going to be some of the best looking books that we've done, no question. And the final thing is I've actually been on the phone about half the evening talking to leather suppliers. We want to improve the quality of our cowhide leather. Our goatskin leather obviously is superlative, but we want to improve the quality of our cowhide leather so that it's actually better than the Easton stuff rather than equivalent to it. Interestingly enough, a lot of the Franklin books were bound in pigskin, and I don't know what they do with all the hides from all the ham that's made, but it's been very difficult so far to locate anybody that supplies pigskin. So I don't know where it's all going, but that's another possibility if we want to get back to that old Franklin level of quality. So, but that's not what I came here to talk about tonight. What I wanted to talk about tonight was the reaction to Gab finally and belatedly and wisely moving away from the cult of free. You know, if you're here, you are almost certainly somebody who has skin in the unauthorized game. Right now, because of the subscription issue, I think it's probably maybe not everyone here necessarily is. Maybe you're just a Social Galactic subscriber, whatever. But the point is that the thing that makes our community so strong and so capable is a combination of factors. But one of the most significant factors is that everybody has an amount of skin in the game. They actually put some of their money on the table. Mickey asks, is it possible to live stream audio only? No, it's possible to play back audio only, but it's not possible to only do audio, in my opinion. Not totally sure, but the devs can correct me if I'm wrong. I think Yordamon's already online here, so he can answer that question better than I can. But the fact that everybody on Social Galactic, everybody commenting on unauthorized videos, can anyone tell me, I don't know if it's possible, can anyone tell me how many people were on Owen's stream tonight? It'd be interesting to know, because we've got 31 watching here. I mean, all of those people have made a commitment to making this happen. We collectively have control of this in a way that we don't have any ability to influence YouTube. We don't have any ability to influence Facebook. Now, we could do what a lot of people do and try to avoid the little bans and suspensions and all that sort of thing. But what's the point? What's the point? We don't want to do that. We want to be able to discuss the topics that we want to discuss. You want me to be able to discuss the things that we want to talk about. And the only way to do that is to not use the platforms that belong to people who hate you, to people who want you to shut up, to people who don't want you to hear, they don't want to hear anything you have to say, and they don't want you to be allowed to speak to anybody else. And so it's totally insane to try to utilize those kind of platforms, except possibly as an occasional outreach program. Owen's very good at that. He and Cod are very good at a broad spectrum approach. Stefan also does that. Razorfist to a much lesser extent, etc., etc. A lot of people feel that they still need to be on YouTube in order to build an audience, that sort of thing. Well, I'm not looking to build an audience. If people don't want to, I'm not a video guy anyhow. More people read my books than watch my videos. That's fine with me. You guys talked me into doing this. I'm glad you did. But let's face it, it's never going to be on my short list of things that I, consider to be a priority medium, which is fine. Let's see. Anyhow, what Torb has done was absolutely necessary, because Gab was having to spend an inordinate amount of resources on people that were contributing nothing to the platform. And I'm going to share with you one of the many negative opinions that were directed my way after I came out and said that Torba had done exactly the right thing. I did a post here. I should probably read my post yesterday, I think it was. Let me see if I can find it. All right, so something about the cult of free. Gab ends the cult of free. So here's what Torba said. Starting in March, media uploads on Gab will be a privilege reserved for Gab Pro verified donor and investor users. We will no longer be supporting free media uploads and hosting huge amounts of data for the free. Let me explain why. As you all know, Gab has to maintain our own in-house infrastructure because we've been banned from all cloud hosting providers. Over the past year, we've had so much data uploaded, largely from free users, that we've had to purchase more storage and spend our precious and limited engineering resources trying to expand our infrastructure storage. We've also faced an onslaught of bot accounts over the past few months that we believe are purposely uploading tons of media files on purpose to flood our storage space. Finally, there are many real users who have been here for years and posted tens of thousands of times and have 10 to 100 gigabytes of media stored on Gab's drives for free. Add those all up and it becomes extremely costly to maintain. And that's absolutely true. I don't think he's making any of that up or exaggerating any of that. We can't do it anymore. Every user will be able to speak freely with words, but if you want the privilege of Gab hosting and an endless stream of large images and videos, you'll need to help support the service. It's just that simple. Pro, verified, donor, and investor users will notice no change when this happens, which is not quite true. There was a slight change relating to RSS, but fine, whatever. Things will continue as normal for you. Everyone else will need to upgrade to Pro to unlock the privilege of posting media files on Gab. To which I added, I mentioned that I support that completely. And I also mention that it's a wise and long overdue business decision. And here is where things might get a little controversial, even for some of you. But this is my opinion. We can discuss this if you like. And I'll share with you the way it was received on Gab. Freeloaders have nothing to offer a community except drama, expense, and trouble. Their uselessness is highlighted by their reaction to the news that they won't be able to make use of Gab's infrastructure any longer for their own purposes, which in many cases are directly in opposition to Torba's own objectives. One of the reasons this community, and here I'm talking to the blog community, but also to unauthorized Castalia, the Bears, Razor Force, etc. One of the reasons this community is strong is that everyone has an amount of skin in the game. Everyone is willing to contribute time, energy, and resources toward our collective vision, toward advancing the good, the beautiful, and the true. And any resources that are diverted to those who are unwilling to even contribute the modern equivalent of the widow's mite are almost certainly wasted. It's not about greed. Right now, UATV is operating without having a single subscriber, advertiser, or revenue stream. And that's fine, because it's part of the mission and it's important to the community that it carry on without interruption. It never occurred to a single member of the team to reduce access or temporarily shut things down until subscriptions are opened again in March. We aren't even going to bother with a crowdfund or anything else because we never operate anywhere close to the edge. If we had to run this indefinitely, we could and we would. But you can't run an operation without resources, and you have to be wise about where you devote those resources. Spending them on people who are unwilling to make even the smallest commitment to the operation is a fool's game, which is why I've been predicting the end of the cult of free for some time now, and why we never set up any operation on that model. The blog's always been free, but the blog isn't a business. It's just, I call it what you want, me writing a diary uh, offering a gift to the community. I mean, I don't, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I've never charged for it, never will, you know. But it's not a business. It's not an operation. You know, the nature of blogging and all that stuff is so inexpensive that it actually costs less than it would to write it out on paper and just leave it lying around on my desk. So anyhow, in fact, Torba will probably see a bonus effect of eradicating the larger part of the trolls and paid propagandists, because the former won't pay to play, and he just increased the cost of doing business for the latter. So it's a very smart decision on his part. If you care more about a macchiato grande from Starbucks than supporting the platform on which you spend hours every day, you don't deserve to have access to it. You don't. You flat out don't. And I totally disagree with anyone who says otherwise. Now, some people might say, well, you're being a little too harsh on the freeloaders. You know, I mean, they provide the eyeballs. They provide the numbers. Well, who gives a flying fuck about the numbers? I've never, ever cared about the numbers. You know, I didn't care when Blogger was reporting that I had 130,000 page views per day. Then they shut down Blogger, and now it's like 30,000 page views a day on voxday.net. Frankly, I haven't noticed any sign whatsoever that fewer people are reading the blog. You know, the only thing that seems to have changed is that putting the comments over on, dumping them over on Social Galactic, seems to have reduced the generic blog numbers. But again, so what? Do you know why people were interested in numbers? Do you know why people made such a big deal out of however many people were on Twitter or Facebook or MySpace or stuff? It's because there used to be a business model that was essentially called eyeballs. And the way that it worked was you spent lots of money and you did everything that you could to get as many eyeballs, to get as big a audience as you could. And then you would get tons of investment, and then you would either get acquired by a big tech company or you would go public. And this was a model that, I mean, a ton of people were pitching back in the, basically the internet boom. I saw a lot of this. I was involved at some of the technology investment conferences in Europe, and there were always like 15 or 20 companies with, stupid Google sounding names. Because Google is the big success, so everybody wanted to. Oh, we're the next Google, And the thing is, it was a retarded model that completely depended upon Clown World. That was Clown World's model of basically data mining the population. And now we know that Facebook, that Google, that Twitter, all of these companies were set up with, in part, government funding. It's and so the idea that this was a genuine business model was also fake. Now, what a lot of people might not remember about Torba is that that's the community that he started out in. He started out in the Silicon Valley startup community. He was involved in some of the laboratories, or what do they call them, incubators, and so that's the model that he had originally tried to set up Gab with. Some real old timers who remember the old brainstorms that we used to do on that old conferencing technology will recall that Torba appeared on the brainstorm, and we were the first ones to tell him, look, you need money. You need to sell subscriptions. The only reason that Gab was selling subscriptions from the beginning is because our community told him to do that. And that was always our community's model. Pay to play. Pay to support. We didn't always paywall it. I specifically asked the people who were supporting Voxiversity, do you want to keep it closed so that only people supporting Voxiversity can watch it, or is your purpose for this stuff to go out there? And I probably shouldn't have to point out, I didn't really care which way it was decided. As it happened, it was totally unanimous that it should be done publicly, and they turned out to be pretty popular. I have no idea how many views there are. For some reason, the Voxiversity videos are still on YouTube, and they probably have over 10,000 views apiece, maybe more. I don't know. I don't pay attention to those things. But the reason that the numbers mattered was, number one, you could get media attention. Well, Gab has 50,000 this. John Scalzi has 2 million page views a month on his blog. And so of course people lie about it and all that sort of thing. Our Arctoons is pushing 15 million now. You don't see the media talking about that one. But those things don't actually matter very much. They matter, like for Arctoons it matters a bit, just because creators realize, oh, I can get good exposure by putting my stuff on there instead of on Webtoons, which has way more views but has so many more Webtoons that no one will ever see mine. But the media doesn't matter. The whole idea of advertising, that was supposed to be what justified the numbers. Well, once you have enough numbers, then the advertisers will pay you, except for the fact that Facebook and Google completely took over and killed the internet advertising model. We experimented once on the blog with some text ads. They weren't picture ads, just a little table of text. I hated it. It was inobtrusive enough that nobody really minded it much. Although there was one weird headline about feet that became somewhat notorious among the old school ilk. But and then they had said that when you get to 1 million views a month, then the amount that we're paying you will go up to this. So I sent them the proof that it had hit that, and they immediately canceled the contract. I mean, the whole thing was just a fraud. Well, not really a fraud. That's not fair. The whole business model was retarded. I mean, they should have wanted, the whole assumption of the business model is, well, the more views, the more traffic, the more it's worth. We hit the target, we hit the objective that they set, and that made them want to stop doing it. Because obviously it wasn't worth it to them. Fine, but why would you do it in the first place? The thing that was mildly amusing about, I think it was Newsmax actually, the thing that was mildly amusing about this experience with Newsmax was that they came back to me repeatedly, as the blog numbers kept getting higher and higher. They kept trying to talk to me. I'm like, you didn't even pay me for the final month, and when I hit the objectives that you set for me, you canceled the whole thing. No, I'm not interested. And then when I looked into the whole ad model thing a bit more, I realized how fake it was. Anyhow, let me read this reaction and see what you think of this. So in response to what I had written, someone on Gab said, you might want to check and see how many of the free cult are among your followers. Most paid users rely on their free followers to make people like you more relevant and give people like you a reason to pay to be on here. They're talking about Gab. The free cult also brings other people to Gab, and some spend their money on products being sold on Gab. That is the real world. Andrew Torba, paid users and attention seekers like yourself are nothing, capital letters, without the free cult. I said, I don't care at all about the free followers. We have a community of more than 10,000, all of whom have skin in the game and are reliable. Free followers are, by and large, useless cowards who abandon ship whenever their feelings get hurt. So then this person responded, I do hope all of the free followers read this and realize that they are considered nothing to people like you. Have fun in your imagined important world. Now, yeah, this reminds me of, and also Mark D, of that old Saturday Night Live skit from the 80s. We lose money on each unit, but we make it up with volume. You know? It doesn't work. And here's my proof that the free followers are useless. Here's my proof that they have no commitment whatsoever. It's not a question of, I really want to support it, but I don't have any money and blah, 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 blah. You know, first of all, it doesn't cost anything to read the blog. It doesn't cost anything to go to the Castalia Library Substack and read the excerpts from the books we're publishing, or to go to the Junior Classic Substack and read the stuff for free there. You can even comment on those places. Sigma Game, totally free. You know, Sigma Game is already getting 10,000 views a day. 3,000, nearly 3,000 subscribers, free subscribers. Nobody's paying anything. But you know what? If Sigma Game or the blog needed the free followers to do something, we would be in a lot of trouble. They would not do a damn thing. They would not lift a finger. With you guys, the community, the people who have skin in the game, the VFM, the Dread Ilk, the Bears, the Razor Force, we have trouble restraining you guys when we need help. When Owen took on Patreon, because Patreon was pulling shenanigans, 10% of the people who spent $275 to file for arbitration didn't even have Patreon accounts and had no standing to do so. That is commitment. That is reliability. Those are the people that you want behind you, at your side, and you also want them to listen a little better. You know, like I said about that on Social Galactic the other day. 11 out of 10 for enthusiasm, 12 out of 10 for loyalty, 0 out of 10 for following instructions. I actually asked one of them once, and it was very, very confusing to both the lawyers on the other side, our own legal team, and the arbitrators. Because they're like, what the hell is going on here? And I had to explain that we have a very enthusiastic following, and they sometimes get a little carried away. It was kind of funny. You could tell that the woman who was in charge of the arbitration company was just like, Yeah, the total the total Jean-Luc Picard facepalm meme. Um, Benema says that's both retarded but amazing at the same time. Well, it was funny because I did call one of the bears that I did know and just said, and as you know, I'm very, very patient with people. I really don't mind it when people do and say retarded things. I'm really kind of a I really like to you know find out what's going on with people and maybe provide a mild and gentle corrective that will help them learn from the experience. Which is to say that I called him up and said, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "What were you doing? What could possibly be going through your mind when we said, hey, we're looking for bears who are Patreon supporters at this specific time who have been deprived of the ability to continue supporting their patron?" And he said, "Yeah, I wasn't sure I had an account or not. I knew I had a PayPal account, so I just figured, it's close enough. I guess I just got a little carried away when I heard the battle call." I mean, we have what can only be described as berserkers. I mean, if we'd been living in the days of the Vikings, this is exactly the kind of guy who would be listening to Owen giving a rousing speech on the morning of battle and would respond by stripping off all his clothes and frothing at the mouth and biting at his shield. I mean, the thing is, I was so pissed. I mean, this did not help the legal case. Let's just put it that way. They're not going, "Yeah, we're really dealing with a crack legal team here." Now I know. I mean, if we were to get in a similar situation again, believe me, we would vet everybody and everything. But it now in hindsight, it actually makes me feel very proud of the Bears, even though sometimes the retardery just boggles my mind. Owen, by the way, it's always funny. He's always amused but slightly protective of whenever occasionally I'll call him up about something or other that one or more bears has done. He's always like, he can tell in my voice. He's like, "Okay, what'd they do?" I think it amuses him. But anyhow, the thing is that we have this we have this great community that doesn't shy away from conflict, that doesn't shy away from digging their shoulder in and getting involved. And I can't stress enough how invaluable that is. Vice didn't have that. They had Clown World money, they had Clown World blessings, they had all the mainstream trappings of success to the point that they were worth $5.7 billion. And they're gone. We're still here. Here's something. We're going to be here as a community. Unauthorized is going to be here when YouTube and Disney go down. That's my prediction. when Disney goes down, when YouTube disappears, unauthorized is still going to be around. Castalia is still going to be around. We're probably going to be stronger than ever. But, you know, a famous investor, might have even been Warren Buffett, once said, when the tide goes out, everybody gets to see who's been swimming naked. Well, when the credit bubble pops, everybody's going to see who's propped up by debt and who actually has genuine support. Sacrificial lamb is completely correct. A lot of those gigantic sites only have fair weather friends, not berserkers. You know, and the reason that I know, and the reason that I'm willing to just come down so hard on the the freeloaders and the freeloaders and the free followers, is that they don't do even the smallest things that they could do for free. You know, I've told you guys before that if you want to help out an author, post a review on Amazon. How many of you, and I'm not asking you to do this because we're not pushing stuff on Amazon right now anyhow. In fact, they kicked us off, and for no reason, or they kicked us off because they didn't understand that we are our own previous publisher, whatever. I don't really want to be on Amazon anyhow. But the point is that for the authors who are, how come every book doesn't have 500 reviews? If there's 2, 3, 5,000 freeloaders on Gab who are more committed to the cause than the people who are willing to pay, who are really doing the hard work, and they're the ones who create the real value, and yet they can't even review a book for free. They can't even post a rating on Goodreads. How long does that take? 10 seconds to log in, another 10 seconds to find the book and click on a star rating, 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever it is. The reason that the free followers are worthless is because they do nothing, they're committed to nothing, they have no skin in the game. Mark D has skin in the game. He says, shut up and take my money, long live unauthorized. He still had something in his wallet left. Good for you, Mark. Thank you. And I'm not, this is not a pitch. You guys can't even subscribe to Unauthorized right now. My purpose is to help you understand the importance of the role that you play. The gammas are constantly going on about they're all pay pickies, it's all grift, blah 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 blah. Here's the reality. Somebody took out a annual subscription on Castalia history and made a comment about here, now you can go buy some more black t-shirts, which was funny and did provoke a sarcastic comment from Space Bunny that I will not share. But the reality is, I don't pay myself anything from that. Not from library, not from Castalia history. Other people do, other people on the team, people who are necessary to it. Because I'm in exactly the same position as you guys. This is our collective effort. This is something that we as a community do together. The success that we have, such as it is you guys play a very significant role in it. Collectively, you play a more important role in it than me, than Owen, than anybody. Because if I'm not here, I mean, I barely posted, or I barely streamed in January. Now, I've made a commitment to do more streaming. By the way, just to be clear, if I'm streaming with John Delarose and it's going on unauthorized, that does count. Shy Panda Bear Mel sends a super chat. Support what you like. Exactly. You know, it's necessary. And you can't support everything that you like. You can't support everything that you think is positive. But what you can do is you can intelligently decide, hey, I like this guy and I think he's doing something significant. I want to help it out. I want to support that. I want to be a part of it. You know, and that's I think the thing that people who don't get involved in those sorts of things, and it doesn't have to be like business stuff either. I'll give you an example. I belong to a football club, and it's not a football team. The football club has a number of teams, you know, so there's the youth teams, there's the adult teams, there's the veterans team. And, you know, we need money. We need to have money to pay for the lights, to pay for the field upkeep, etc., etc. So what do? Every year there's like a bocce ball tournament. There's a dance, drinks and dance and so forth. And you know, there's probably maybe 3 weekends out of the year that there are events. And so I and all my other teammates regularly work at these things. You know, sometimes, you know, now that I speak better French, now I work at the bar. Back before I really spoke any, and because I'm a night owl, they would put me on coat check duty. So I'd just be sitting there taking the coats and giving the coats back. You know, cleanup crew is a good one too. It was kind of funny. The last cleanup crew after the big sort of dance drinks thing, which is always a huge bear to clean up after. It was kind of funny because the member of the committee, there's a committee that runs the club. There were 4 of us that were all on our knees, you know, scrubbing at the floor, and the committee member sat back and looked around and nodded with satisfaction, and he said, "This is good. This is representative." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, we have a committee member, we have a veteran, we have a first team, and we have a junior." He said, "This is the way it should be." You know, because they'd put together a team. So the point is that, you know, it's not always about money. It's also about time and it's about effort. But the point is, are you doing something that builds what the community is doing? Are you building the community? Are you supporting the community? And that's how these projects turn into institutions. You know, that's how they become strong. That's how they become independent. That's how they become viable. That's why they are able to survive over time when bigger, more fragile institutions and organizations collapse. We've got 2 super chats, 2 more super chats came in. Bishop says, "Have my last credits. Have an annual sub and get lots of value. Thank you." You're welcome, Bishop. Thank you as well. Lost and Found Bear says, "Wow, my first time catching you live. I love the stream and unauthorized TV. Thanks, Lost and Found Bear. I had no idea that that you were watching the streams. Yeah, do Yordamo, maybe you know, do we have any, do we even keep statistics on how many people like watch the stuff when it's not live? I've never even asked about that. So, and Rebear Steel says, "Hi Vox, is there any way I can send you some of my chocolate salsa?" I'm really hoping that that's some sort of commercial project and not slang that I am unfamiliar with, being middle-aged and having lived overseas for many years. Oh, we got a big spike of bear since Owen Fair. Well, that makes sense. No, I wasn't talking about that though. I was talking about just when, you know, when people are just watching downloads. So those numbers should still be kicking around somewhere. Okay. It just might be interesting to, you know, sort that out sometime after we get the current situation resolved. So anyhow, it's my own recipe. That still sounds ominous. I'm not Owen. I'm not quite as trusting. Anyhow, there's no way to do it right now, but we should probably one of these days set up a post box or something. But I'm kind of leery of doing that because it's insanely expensive to actually. Yeah, there's, now that I think about it, there probably is a way, because if you were to send it to our shipping warehouse, then they could get it over to me when they're sending other stuff. So we'll work it out. Any news on the skills channel? None whatsoever. Nobody has, as far as I know, nobody has really taken the lead on that. I'm all for it. I'd love to see it, but somebody needs to be in charge of that, and it's not going to be me for many reasons. Probably chief among them being, I would just as soon not have to listen to the inevitable sarcastic comments from Space Bunny and others about the bitter irony of me being involved in any way with a skills channel that involves manual labor. So anyhow, but yeah, if you guys who are, I don't know how many of you guys are talking about doing the skills channel or who have been like putting together videos for it, but unauthorized is the perfect place for it. But there has to be one person who's in charge of the channel, and it can't be somebody who's like, you know, the enthusiastic type who's going to burn out after, you know, 3 weeks. And so, you know, but here's the point. If you have to bug somebody about this, they're probably not the right person. The right personality for this kind of thing is somebody who is just going to like do it and not wait for whatever they're waiting for. I'm not against it. I'm just pointing out the obvious evidence that suggests itself. You know, it's a lot easier for people to say, hey, wouldn't this be a great idea? Someone should. Well, the people who actually do things are busy doing things. And the people who like to talk about doing things never do anything. So, you know, it's not a criticism, it's just an observation. You know, there's no point in getting various members of the community to make skills videos if nobody is going to organize them, upload them, etc., etc. Craggy says, I can provide the leather crafting videos, but can't commit to organize the others. Precisely. That sort of thing is always the issue. That's why alphas get the status. You know, they get things done. Um, that's why it's a bad idea to rely on sigmas for anything. You know, we're really good until we're not. It's kind of funny how, all the people that I work with, all of my various lieutenants and bravos and so forth, they've all learned, okay, so how do we completely eradicate him from the process so that he doesn't cause a bottleneck? So anyhow, the devs are even coming up with their own solutions. Just get him out of the way. I'm all for it. 100%, I'm all for it. But anyhow, but here's the thing: we all have a role to play. This is something that we do collectively, and I'm very appreciative of how strong and how staunch and how reliable the members of this community are. Frank has a super chat question: will this video audio auto upload, or is it still manual? It's auto upload, but you have to actually publish it. The devs have created a system that is very slick compared to most systems, but the problem right now, and the reason that I and others can occasionally be lazy about it, is you need to create and upload a thumbnail. So that's why. So the live stream is ready to go right away. The devs have some plans to simplify and automate that process. So and then let the creators edit the stuff after the fact. So, but at least it'll be up there, with some sort of thumbnail, potentially a title, whatever. Yordamon says, just cracked automatic thumbnails a la YouTube tonight. Auto publishing is coming next. Yeah, so we'll get there. We're definitely focusing on upping our infrastructural game. So anyhow, thanks for tuning in. One last reminder: if you are a Castalia History or Castalia Library or Libraria Castalia subscriber, and your subscription has been canceled, make sure that you renew it tomorrow, so that you don't have to pay a catch-up if you wait until March to do it. This does not hold true for those who were already charged in February. Wait till March to renew it. I'm Vox Day. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Darkstream.